Days of Our Lives spoilers hint that Xander Kyriakis' next baby mama could shake things up. Is a Gwen Rizchek pregnancy story on the way? Before Xander and Sarah Horton Kyriakis' marriage blew up, he suggested having another child. Xander was eager to give Victoria Kyriakis a sibling since he enjoys being a daddy so much. Of course, that plan fell apart once Xander beat Philip Kyriakis to a pulp and ultimately found out Sarah was in on the forged letter deception. However, the conversation about Xander's desire to give Victoria a little brother or sister was interesting. Could that still become a crucial part of Xander's upcoming Days storyline? Maybe with a woman who isn't Sarah? Gwen's Salem return will surprise Xander, especially when she tries to reignite some sparks between them. Days spoilers say Gwen will pounce on Xander, so she'll plant a kiss and perhaps hope they can hit the sheets too. Even if Xander rejects Gwen now, he might become more open to sizzling again eventually. Gwen was never Xander's true love, but there was definitely a major attraction and understanding between them. Unlike Sarah, Xander doesn't have to be on his best behavior when it comes to Gwen. Since Gwen knows how to play just as dirty, she's a better match for Xander in some ways. Of course, Duel fans know Gwen has made mistakes of her own, but at least she doesn't pretend to be a saint. Since Xander is fed up with Sarah right now, that could work to Gwen's advantage and help her wear him down over time. In other words, Days spoilers suggest Gwen stands a good chance of landing back in bed with Xander at some point. Once that happens, it could certainly pave the way for Gwen to get pregnant with Xander's baby. Right as Xander and Sarah are ready to work things out in their marriage, Gwen could reveal she's got his bun in the oven. That stunning news could blow up Sarah and Xander's reconciliation, so Gwen's potential pregnancy is an intriguing idea to ponder. Days of Our Lives spoilers say Gwen will bring some drama back to Salem no matter what, so we'll pass along updates on any sneaky moves she'll make. Days of Our Lives spoilers update for the week of July 7-11 reveals that Bonnie Kyriakis will be back with the harsh truth, while Doug Williams III faces some temptation. Leo Stark's past will also haunt him, so here's what Duel fans can expect in the coming episodes. Let's start with Gwen Rizchek, since she'll make her way back to Salem and shock some familiar faces, including Chad DiMera and Julie Williams. Gwen will also waste no time in approaching Xander Kyriakis and planning a kiss on him, but will he be into it or ultimately reject her? Either way, Days spoilers say Gwen will do some scheming and will seemingly get tangled up in a plot for EJ DiMera soon. In the meantime, Marlena Evans will have more bouts of dizziness and leave Belle Black quite concerned about her mom. Leo will have some worries of his own when it comes to the baby he's caring for with Javi Hernandez. When Tesoro won't stop crying, Leo will panic over something possibly being wrong with him. Gabby Hernandez will take the baby in her arms and try her luck at calming him. There's a chance that Leo's just showing some discomfort that Tesoro is picking up on. Leo has plenty of past issues to work through, so he'll open up to Javi about his childhood later. That may bring some horror stories and tough confessions, but Javi will offer some much-needed support. Next, Rafe Hernandez will catch Ariana Ari Horton doing something she's not supposed to be doing. Days spoilers say Ari may sneak off somewhere without telling Gabby where she's really going. Regardless, Ari will meet up with Doug eventually, but he'll once again try to get rid of her. Doug is fearful about Ari's safety, but she'll be awfully persistent when it comes to kissing him and offering some temptation. Over with Bonnie, Days spoilers say she'll resurface for a crucial conversation with Sarah Horton Kyriakis. Bonnie will share the harsh truth with Sarah, so she may admit that sometimes loving someone means accepting their many flaws. Sarah can't help it if she still has feelings for Xander. It's just a matter of whether she can move beyond the pain of the past and find a way forward with him. Justin Kyriakis forgave Bonnie, even when she probably didn't deserve it, so she may be rooting for Sarah to forgive Xander too. Of course, Xander is still pretty angry with Sarah at this point, so a new chapter isn't really an option yet. Sarah may point that out to Bonnie and insist that her focus has to be on Victoria Kyriakis right now. As for Belle and the memory card that she ended up with, will it have manipulated footage? EJ might have edited it so that Johnny DiMera isn't the last person seen in the video. Whatever the case, Belle and Jada Hunter are on the verge of a shocking discovery, one that'll lead to Jada putting Chanel Dupree DiMera through an interrogation. It sounds like Chanel will land on the hot seat for threatening EJ that night. But we know Johnny's trial will ultimately move forward. When we spoke with Emily O'Brien back when Teresa returned, she told us that she figured this day would come eventually. Back when Gwen left, she said something along the lines, "Salem, you haven't seen the last of me." So I knew if she's saying something like that, she has to come back. Plus, the storyline is still open. Fortunately, we should be finding out all the answers as to what Gwen's been up to and how successful she's been soon enough. "There's still so many questions and loose ends," O'Brien teased. "And she goes after Dimitri's money. So I had a feeling, but then I just sort of had to put that all away in a box and then just jump straight into being Teresa. So there was no time to really, I want to say mourn, but close that chapter on it." Before her original character could return, though, O'Brien had to tie up some loose ends with Teresa, and by the time she came back to weigh in on Tate's baby drama and run off to take care of her mom, Kimberly, as she battled cancer, O'Brien knew Gwen's return was just around the corner. "I kept quiet about that for a while," she admitted. "Days of Our Lives had checked in with me a while back because I had mentioned that I was thinking about maybe going to New York. I wanted to see if I could do theater and be on stage. They knew this, so they got in touch with me to see if I was still in town. Because if I'm leaving, they can't write Gwen into the story. They were just sort of checking in to see, hey, if this storyline picks up down the road, are you interested and are you in town to do it? So they had planted a seed. I just didn't really know when. I had a timeline of when it would happen. So, yeah, I kept that to myself for a long time." As for the storyline that brought her back, all O'Brien would admit is that it's one that was very intriguing and that I was very receptive to. Well, between Julie's necklace and locking lips with Xander, it's clear she's coming back with a bang, so color us intrigued too. And if Gwen finally has all the money she could ever want, we may be seeing a whole new side of her. That would be a huge change for a woman who's spent just about her entire life fighting and scraping for just about every penny she's ever had. Sophia's getting her pregnancy pad in place when Tate knocks on her bedroom door. "Tate, what are you doing here?" He's dropping off glow sticks to get her in the spirit of the 4th and ask how she's feeling. Sophia flinches back when he tries touching her stomach. Tate apologizes awkwardly, and Sophia makes up an excuse about getting sick of people touching her stomach. He heads out to watch fireworks after Sophia assures him she'll be fine. She gets on the phone with Melinda, who assures her their plan is still a go. Sophia thanks her and tells her the temporary solution is working. Melinda tells her that after the weekend, they should be good to go, which is a huge relief for Sophia. "You made a very smart decision, Sophia. The right decision." She walks Sophia through the foster adoption process for her son, and Sophia asks if she has time to write a letter yet. "You can do that," Melinda says, telling her to send it to the fire station. They'll leave for Chicago after the weekend, and everything will be fine. Kat and Felicity are having ice cream at a table in the square when Xander wanders over with the stuffed dog he didn't give Victoria, and gives it to Felicity. He wants to apologize for yelling at her about Sarah's allergic reaction. She calls him an ableist jerk, which Xander takes with aplomb, but Kat appreciates the gesture. Holly and Sarah are out for a girls' night, where the teen tells her aunt that she and Tate are back together. She also talks a bit about Paris, then spots Xander with Kat and tries pulling Sarah away. But Sarah says she can't avoid him forever. Felicity, meanwhile, takes the apology and offers a glow stick as a gift before she leaves. Xander wanders over to Sarah, who says his attempt at an apology was a nice gesture, which shocks him. She offers to take the stuffed dog to the kids at the hospital. They talk a bit about how Victoria's been a bit more fragile and clingy lately, and Sarah admits that it may have something to do with Xander not being around as much anymore. They agree to have a semi-civil conversation over dinner. Now, Sarah goes to let Holly know she can run off with Tate. The two settle into the bistro, and chat a bit about how Victoria's been, and Sarah shows Xander pictures of their daughter's toothpaste mishap. After thawing a bit, they agree they can't go on like this. Xander suggests an informal 50-50 arrangement, but Sarah worries about Victoria being with him alone. She knows he'd never lay a finger on Victoria, but she worries about Victoria learning the wrong things about right and wrong and dealing with anger. She needs him to tell her he's sorry about what he did to Philip, and promise he'll never do anything like that again. But Xander refuses to acknowledge anything, accusing Sarah of setting him up to get in trouble. He refuses to believe her when she promises she won't tell anyone, and things go back downhill fast between the two of them. "Well," he sighs, "I guess we'll have to do this the hard way then." They fight over who's looking out for Victoria's best interests. Then Sarah storms out, only for Melinda to wander in. Xander tells him it's time to resort to those other measures as we talked about. Chad's all dressed up at home, turning down Julie's invite to the 4th of July Salem Pops performance, admitting he doesn't like classical music. He runs off to the bakery for some treats for the kids, but someone's watching him leave outside. Julie talks to Hope on the phone about the necklace, where she's happy to hear it'll be back tomorrow. But Hope refuses to say who had it. Chad runs into Felicity and Kat in the square, where Felicity's excited to show him the cupcakes she decorated for him. She leaves and they talk about making dinner plans again. Felicity gets back, upset that Chanel took the cupcakes, thinking they were for her, not Chad, and insists she'll make new ones for him. Chad and Kat take the time to grab a drink, where she teases him about hating classical music. She sang in high school choir and tells a story about Aaron falling asleep in her concert. Chad spots a message on her phone from James Smith, asking to meet tomorrow, but says nothing when Felicity gets back with new cupcakes. Instead, he runs home, looking back at Kat enigmatically. Holly and Tate wander over to the pub together to eat before the fireworks. Holly thinks Sarah having dinner with Xander is kinda weird, but she's glad she and Tate ran into each other. They're excited to head away together for some alone time. They go outside, where Tate kisses her as the fireworks start. Sophia watches the fireworks from her room, cracking a glow stick to celebrate. Before leaving to watch the fireworks, Kat tells Felicity she knows that the thank you note from Chanel was old. Felicity just wanted to give her and Chad time together. Days of Our Lives. 2-week spoilers for July 7th, 18th, 2025. See, Chad DiMera is shocked, and Gwen Rischek is back for trouble, and boy, is she going to jump into it right away. On Monday, July 7th, Chad DiMera deepens his bond with Kat Green. He's starting to get really into his feels with her. And we have got Chad kissing Kat, and that smooch is coming soon. Sarah Horton is bickering with Xander Cook again. It's about Victoria and custody. Both of them were advised to make peace. Sarah was told by Brady Black, Xander was told by Maggie Horton Kyriakis that them fighting like this is only going to hurt their daughter, but they just can't seem to help themselves. You know that saying, there's a thin line between love and hate. And I think they are right on that line. Sophia Choi struggles with her feelings about giving up the baby. And of course, soon she has to tell Tate Black she gave birth. And all this drama, you know. We'll see. She could be struggling with postpartum depression because she is going to be doing some really sketchy things this summer. Tate and Holly Jonas make plans to do this senior camp trip. They are going away for a week, but it looks like Tate's just going to go away for like a day or so because he's concerned about Sophia giving birth, having no idea she already has. Watch for Tate and Holly to be kissing under the fireworks soon. On Tuesday, July 8th, we have got Gwen Rischek sweeping back into Salem. Emily O'Brien is back. Gwen has got money, attitude, and it looks like Julie Williams's precious necklace around her neck. Chad and Julie are absolutely stunned to see Gwen show up at the Horton house, all smug and entitled, and just, you know, being Miss Gwen. I'm excited about this more so than I was her as Teresa, so we'll see. Aria's busted by her uncle Rafe Hernandez when she's up to something. Looks like she's trying to sneak over to make out with Doug Williams III in his room above the Brady pub. There's going to be some action over there between those two this week. Alex Kyriakis tells Stephanie Johnson that he loves her as they enjoy the fireworks and some romance under the July 4th night sky. Leo Stark is worried when the baby won't stop crying at the Hernandez house. Ari is not enjoying the noise. And we've got Gabby Hernandez pitching in to try and get the little guy to calm down. But Leo is actually worried that the baby may be sick. Now, he may just be overreacting because this whole situation is stressing him, or legit, it could be happening that way. We'll see. Wednesday, July 9th, Leo opens up to Javi Hernandez some more about his past, and maybe his emotional baggage is causing issues with Leo bonding with the baby and being able to deal with it. His terrible mom, Diana Colville, is just the worst, and Leo has got mommy issues and daddy issues, and none of that can be helping in this situation. Doug 3 rejects Ari. She is over there trying to make out with him. He wants Ari to stay away. Doug Williams 3 is trying to keep her safe, but she's just insulted. And of course, Doug 3 hasn't told Ari or Holly that he still owes these dangerous people money. They have sent him those photos of the girls. So he's not the brightest bulb. He thinks just by kicking them out of his life, that's going to protect them. It's not. Xander gets some time alone with Gwen at the Salem Inn, and she plants a lip lock on Xander, who she's still clearly hot for. Belle Black worries about Marina, when she seems dizzy and close to collapse at home. Plus, Bonnie Lockhart Kyriakis brings some rough news to Sarah. They're chatting at the Kyriakis mansion, and I wonder if this relates to the custody battle and whether Justin Kyriakis will be taking Xander's case or not. Maggie would be very upset if he was. Thursday, July 10th, Johnny Dimera is facing criminal charges, of course, but Chanel Dupree is loyal. She believes in his innocence. E.J. Dimera is standing by Johnny, too. He's considering trying to find a way to shift the blame onto Kristen Dimera for his shooting. And we do know that Kristen is headed to prison later this summer, but I don't think it's going to be a direct accusation situation on Days of Our Lives. Tony Dimera warns his brother E.J. not just about the Johnny trial, but also that Tony intends to take back the company, and the two brothers discuss CEO options. E.J. thinks it'd be a good fit for Johnny. Presuming he gets him off on these attempted murder charges. Plus, that would get Johnny away from working for the Kyriakis over at Titan. Hopefully, they can get Diarra out from under that umbrella. And of course, don't forget Kat's been tasked with investigating the source of funds that E.J. used to buy the hospital. And that's for the ISA, with Rafe helping out as the FBI liaison. Belle and Jada Hunter are stunned by what is on the memory card that Belle was sent. And the big question is, who sent it and why? Because last we saw it, it was in EJ's hands. So maybe he's setting her up. You can't put anything past that, ma'am. Xander argues with Philip Kyriakis, and no doubt it is about Titan. On Friday, July 11th, Jada asks Chanel some tough questions, and I wonder if it is about Johnny's whereabouts the night of the shooting. The gun that Roman Brady handed over isn't going to help Johnny at all because he wiped it down for Prince. They obviously can't test Johnny for gunshot residue because it's been so long, and the bullet should match. I remember they were having some problems with past ballistic tests like on Kristen's gun and stuff. Something about the bullet being partially damaged. Sometimes if it hits bone inside a body, it can warp it. So we'll see if they get a ballistics match. Paulina Price offers Johnny an update, and EJ's playing dirty games, and he's manipulating Belle. He'll obviously do anything to help Johnny. Sarah demands that Philip come clean about Xander beating him, and Xander and Maggie are arguing about Sarah and Victoria again. The week of July 14th through the 18th, we're headed into Johnny's criminal trial soon. Little Rachel Black is nervous about testifying, but she's also sitting on a secret that both Marina and Sarah may find out soon. Of course, it's that Johnny is not the shooter, and the truth about who did it is buried inside little Rachel. Word spreads that Gwen Rischek is back, and I think very few people are going to be happy to see her. I'm curious to see if Gwen gives Leo the cold shoulder, since we know he wants to rekindle their friendship and feels super guilty about banging her hunky husband Dmitry von Luschner Demera. Sophia has to come clean to Tate about giving birth. She's going to lie and say it was a little girl and that the adoptive parents wanted to take the baby right away, so she let them. DA Melinda Trask may try and fake some documents to help support these fibs she's telling to take. That woman's going to lose her law license, I tell you. Doug Williams. There's debt collectors amp up soon, and the senior trip takes a darker turn. Belle and EJ may both play dirty in court. Philip wants to help Xander and Sarah fix things. Kat and Chad continue to get closer, and Julie's frustrated that Gwen's got the Horton necklace, and Javi may want to keep the baby as long as possible. Days of Our Lives, spoilers and updates tease in a new summer and fall preview video that Stefano DiMera may not be the only DiMera resurrection on the NBC Peacock soap. The real Tony DiMera may have just arrived in Salem, but might the Tony seen at the end of the video talking to Father really be Andre DiMera? Duel fans should remember the last time Stefano came back to life with a brain chip of Stefano's essence in Steve Johnson's body. Stevie Ano came to an end when Anna DiMera spiked him in the eye with a spike heel, and his brain chip was removed. Tony himself and Chad DiMera destroyed the brain chip, which apparently had Stefano's essence programmed into it by artificial intelligence. Megan Hathaway DiMera, who had brought Bo Brady to life, had teamed up with Dr. Wilhelm Rolf for a couple of projects. Did she manage to succeed at reviving Stefano after all? Retrieving the 3 prisms, and perhaps Andre as well? Part of the video has Rafe Hernandez talking to Kat Green in his office, telling her there's a reason that Stefano is known as the Phoenix. In the next part of the video, Anna is seen mocking apparently Kat, saying she claims your father is alive. But the look that comes on Tony's face tells the tale Stefano's not the only resurrection, and you'd think Anna would know Andre from Tony. But then Anna does tend to be a little, shall we say, dumb sometimes. After all, she carried what she thought were Tony's ashes in a cocktail shaker everywhere she went for years, until she found out he was alive. Marlena Evans finds herself having nightmares about Stefano, and feeling an otherworldly connection. This will be the first time she's had to face her old enemy since losing her husband and hero, John Black, to death. In a lab somewhere, a man in a white coat like a doctor would wear walks by a tube like Marlena herself was in when Megan had her in stasis. Kayla Johnson and Kate Brady were also in tubes, as was Bo in a different part of the lab at the time. Is that Andre telling Stefano in the stasis tube it's almost time to wake up, as Marlena wakes up in terror? On Days of Our Lives, characters have many freedoms. From baby swapping to blackmail to resurrection, Salemites have a wide array of options to help them pursue their goals. The actors recently opened up about their characters' freedoms, and each brought something fun and interesting to the table. On the Day's official Instagram page was written, "This Independence Day, our cast is declaring freedom from bad exes, buried secrets, and too much DiMera drama. What would you declare independence from in Salem?" Several cast members responded in kind in a video that was attached. First up was Carson Boatman, who said, "This 4th of July, I am declaring independence from being arrested for crimes that I didn't commit." He paused a moment and hilariously continued with, "Again." Ilya Cantu was next and stated, "From liars, cheaters, and those damn DiMera tunnels." Paul Telfer declared that Xander was free from impulsive decisions and probably shirts, but definitely impulsive decisions. Meanwhile, Jackie Harry stated, "I'm declaring independence from my son, but I want my grandkids." This is confusing because Paulina does not have a son. Abigail Klein bluntly stated, "Men who think honesty is optional. I'm looking at you, Philip." Speaking of which, Philip's portrayer, Jean-Paul Lavoisier, stated, "Fake deals, forged documents, and emotional blackmail." He paused and looked torn, adding, "Maybe." Lindsay Godfrey then declared, "This 4th of July, I am declaring independence from baby secrets." She then requested, "Just give me a clean DNA test and a quiet summer, please." And Galen Gehring, whose character Rafe Hernandez had recently been replaced with his doppelganger, Arnold Feniger, said, "Being confused with Arnold, blamed for crimes I didn't commit, and for weddings that I did not attend." Some fans wondered what Harry's answer meant, and one speculated, "I think she played the game wrong. Oops." And another fan commented, "Ha ha ha, these are great. Galen's and Paul's are my favorite answers." After a bit of lurking, Gwen re-entered the world of Salem at the end of the Monday, July 7th episode of Days of Our Lives, and boy, did she know how to make an entrance. In other news, Xander and Sarah were able to carry on a civil conversation until they couldn't. As a result, the tension between them has escalated. At this point, joint custody of Victoria may not be an option. Earlier in the episode, Hope told Julie that Alice's necklace would be in her possession the next day. So Julie wasn't prepared when Gwen suddenly walked into her house sporting the priceless necklace that had been missing in action for months. So, does this mean that Gwen was the one who bought it after Melinda unloaded it? She does have the money now, right? Or is there another story here? Regardless, we knew the necklace was on its way back to Salem, and we knew Gwen would be making her Salem comeback in July. But who knew that after Steve, Austin, Hope, and Beau searched and found Alice's necklace, Gwen would be responsible for returning it to Julie? That is, if she hands it over to Julie without fuss or muss. You never know with Gwen. She's a sneaky, manipulative one when she wants to be. She'll probably have demands. What to do with Xander and Sarah? For much of Monday's episode, the two attempted to deal with each other civilly and with compassion. Unfortunately, that responsible, peaceful tone did not last. Once they agreed to have dinner and a discussion about custody, things took a turn. Their conversation at the bistro became a bitter blowout. Once again, Xander treated lying as worse than kidnapping, attempted murder, or anything else he's done in his past. Sarah unrealistically expected him to come clean about what he did to Philip, but Xander quickly jumped to the conclusion that she was wearing a wire or had armed the table with a recording device to entrap him. In a world where Xander and Sarah do not trust each other to tell the truth, there was no way they could agree on an amicable, informal custody agreement. In the end, Xander alluded to doing things the hard way, and we know what that means. He and his lawyer, Melinda Trask, will resort to underhanded means to get custody of Victoria. Before Jackie Harry ever hit Days of Our Lives, she starred in hit TV comedies like 227 and Sister Sister. And since entering the soap world, she has continued to appear in projects outside the daytime universe. Now comes word that she's joining the cast of a successful Netflix comedy starring Ted Danson. Here's what we know. Deadline was the first to report that Harry will guest star in the second season of Netflix's A Man on the Inside. The comedy stars Ted Danson, who plays a retired man who gets a new lease on life when he answers an ad from a PI and becomes a mole in a secret investigation. The details of Harry's character are being kept under wraps. However, Deadline states that the actress could potentially return should the show get renewed for a third season. There's also no word on how many episodes the Emmy-winning icon will appear in. During the first season, Danson's character went undercover in an assisted living facility to get the goods on a crime. However, the Mike Schur-created show fancies itself an anthology comedy, so there will be a new case every season. In addition to Man on the Inside, Schur has created mega-hit comedies Parks and Recreation, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and The Good Place, which also starred Danson. Word has it that the second season of Man on the Inside will see Danson's Charles Neuendick, a retired professor, work his magic at a liberal arts college. In addition to Harry, Netflix's Tudum reports that the series will feature an incredible cast, including the Dansons' real-life wife, Mary Steenburgen, as well as Gary Cole, Constance Marie, David Straharan, Bones's Michael Conlon, and Bosch's Linda Park. Man on the Inside has been filming since April and is set to stream later this year on Netflix. As for Harry, her Days character has recently entered a rough patch with her daughter, Chanel. It all started when Paulina used her mayoral powers to order Jada to arrest Johnny, Chanel's husband, for the attempted murder of his father. Johnny insists that he's innocent. Days of Our Lives spoilers for Tuesday, July 8th, reveal Gwen returns to Salem after a long absence, leaving everyone on edge. Julie and Chad are left reeling by an unexpected development, while Leo struggles with his role in caring for a baby. Meanwhile, Rafe finds himself in a difficult position when he confronts Ari. Here's what to expect. Gwen's return to Salem raises more questions than answers. Her time away has only fueled the mystery surrounding her, and it seems like her comeback will stir up old tensions. With her arrival, will she be seeking redemption, or is there something more sinister in store for the residents of Salem? Gwen's return is sure to shake things up, and no one is prepared for the drama she's about to bring. Julie and Chad are in for a shock when they are faced with a surprising revelation. What is it that leaves them both stunned? With their lives already complicated, This new development will add more pressure to an already difficult situation. How will they each react? And what will this mean for their futures in Salem? Leo struggles with caring for the baby as he faces unexpected challenges that come along with a newborn. Taking on the role of caregiver hasn't been easy for him, and his frustrations are mounting. Will Leo find the strength to rise to the occasion, or will he falter under the pressure? His journey to understand his new responsibilities is just beginning, and it's clear that this struggle will not be an easy one for him. Rafe is confronted with a tough situation when he busts Ari in the act of doing something she shouldn't. As he uncovers the truth of her actions, Rafe is faced with difficult decisions. Will he be able to protect Ari, or will this discovery have serious consequences for both of them? Got a red-hot theory about your favorite soap storyline? Email news@soaphub.com. Yours could be our next hot topic. Days of Our Lives spoilers for the week of July 7 to 11, 2025. Tease a shocking return and mixed feelings. The week will start with some mixed feelings for Sophia. She just gave birth to a baby boy and left him at the fire station. And despite being adamant about giving the baby up, she may now start having regrets. She knew Tate and her mother would want to keep the baby the second they saw him, and sadly for Javi and Leo, she may want to keep him after all. As Leo and Javi continue taking care of baby Tesoro, midweek, Leo will open up to his boyfriend about his past. Which part of his slimy past is still unknown? Will he reveal what happened last year with baby Jude? Or maybe he'll relive his past with his former best friend. Which brings Salem to this week's big return. Gwen, she's back. And will she be badder than ever? Look for her to rock some lives on Tuesday. The Kyriakis versus Kyriakis debacle is never ending, and on Thursday, Xander and Philip will face off. They previously agreed to work together at Titan Demera, Philip getting his inheritance as long as he kept quiet about Xander's beating. Now, the brothers will be at each other's throats again, and by Friday, Sarah will be begging Philip to come clean about what Xander did to him. Meanwhile, Jada and Belle will uncover something shocking. This could pertain to anything from Johnny's attempted murder case to Stephanie's manuscript. Got a red-hot theory about your favorite soap storyline? Email news@soaphub.com. Yours could be our next hot topic. Days of Our Lives spoilers photos for the July 8th, 2025 episode tease a shockers and stalkers across Salem. First, we'll see Leo as he struggles to take care of baby Tesoro. Gabi and Ari may not be much help, prompting a panicked Leo to bring the baby boy to the hospital. When the new foster dads meet with Kayla, she'll most likely assure them all is well with their foster son. Meanwhile, Rafe will work a case before being mushy siblings in front of Ari, who later runs into Kayla at the pub. But things will take a dangerous turn when the thug Doug III owes money to looms in the alleyway. Finally, Gwen makes her grand return to Salem, and Leo will be in for a shock to see his former best friend in the flesh. Got a red-hot theory about your favorite soap storyline? Email news@soaphub.com. Yours could be our next hot topic, Days of Our Lives spoilers. For Monday, July 7th, promise a whirlwind of drama as Xander and Sarah's argument takes a shocking turn. Sophia is torn between two choices. Tate and Holly prepare for a getaway with unexpected complications, and Chad and Kat share a surprising bond that could lead to something more. You won't want to miss a single second. Tensions between Xander and Sarah reach a boiling point this week. Their relationship has been rocky for some time, but the latest argument threatens to tear them apart. At the heart of their confrontation is their deep-rooted frustrations with each other. Will they find common ground, or is this the end of their tumultuous partnership? The stakes have never been higher for these two. Sophia is struggling with the aftermath of her decision to surrender her newborn. After giving birth in secret and leaving the child at a safe haven, Sophia is overwhelmed with guilt. Watching Leo and Javi care for the baby only intensifies her internal conflict. Can she continue to live with her choice, or will her conscience push her to make things right? Expect emotional moments as Sophia grapples with whether or not to reveal her secret to those around her. Tate and Holly are excited about their getaway, but not everything goes according to plan. What was meant to be a relaxing trip turns into a series of complications, leaving them questioning whether they'll be able to enjoy their time away. Chad and Kat are forming a surprising connection that no one saw coming. As they spend more time together, their bond deepens in ways neither expected. Could this be the beginning of something more between them? With chemistry between them undeniable, it's clear that Chad and Kat's relationship is growing closer. Here are your Days of Our Lives spoilers for Tuesday, July 8th, 2025. The last person Chad expected to see when he opened the Horton house front door, as fireworks exploded outside, was Gwen Rizchesh, Jack's long-lost daughter, who made Julie's life a living hell when they were forced to live together for a while. Julie has no love lost for Gwen, and neither does Chad. She might be Abigail's sister, but Abby and Gwen never got along. Plus, Gwen tricked Chad into sleeping with her at one time. That nearly ruined his relationship with Abby for good. However, when Julie sees that Gwen is wearing the infamous diamond necklace, she has a whole lot of questions. After shocking Chad and Julie, Gwen takes a walk through Horton Town Square, where she runs into her old pal Maddie, aka Leo Stark. Gwen is surprised to see Leo with a baby, so he explains he is just fostering the newborn. But Leo still worries like a dad. When he can't get Tesoro to stop crying, Leo takes the baby to the hospital to be checked out. Will Kayla find that everything is okay, or is there something really wrong with Sophia's baby? While Ari might not like listening to a screaming baby, she has more important things to concern herself with, namely, sneaking out of the house as much as she can to see Doug III. What she doesn't realize is that she is being followed by one of the people Doug owes money to. Doug is doing his best to get the funds, but the people after him are willing to threaten people he is close to. Ari also has trouble with her Uncle Rafe when she is caught in the act. Does that mean Rafe knows what she has been up to during her late-night jaunts? Or does he see the person following Ari and wonder what is going on? When Rafe busts Ari, will she convince him not to tell her mother what he knows? Ari might be 18, but Gabby still rules the roost with an iron fist. Welcome to the Days of Our Lives Daily YAPP for a quick, and by that I mean you're already halfway done, recap of the most amazing or what the heck did we just watch moments on today's episode. Let's get to it. Just when we thought Sarah and Xander could finally get it together on Days of Our Lives, these two foolish characters screwed it all up again. While we're still not excusing Sarah's big lie when she kept the truth from Xander about the forged letter from Victor, Xander is the one screwing up now. Big time. Sarah was almost ready to give in to the idea of shared custody of Victoria when Xander accused her of wearing a wire and trying to trap him. Sarah swore she wasn't. She only wanted to hear that Xander was sorry for what he did to Philip. That's right, Sarah, who was so concerned about her husband's violent tendencies, was just fine with the idea of Xander having shared custody of Victoria, as long as he apologized for nearly beating his brother to death. Of course, Xander refused and decided that Sarah's lies were much more egregious than his violence. But here's the thing, both of them are ridiculous. Yes, Xander, your violence is much more concerning than Sarah keeping a secret. And yes, Sarah, apologies for an action with consequences doesn't always make things okay. At this point, Sarah and Xander deserve one another because they both have a warped sense of morality, and they both can't seem to find their maturity. Perhaps Maggie can have temporary custody of her granddaughter, while Victoria's parents get their heads screwed on right. Want more details? We got you! Soap Central has the best full duel recaps on the internet. You can even go back over 30 years and read each and every one of them. If you can't wait until the next episode, we have daily spoilers too. And whatever you do this weekend, do not, seriously, do not forget to read The Two Scoops for some laughs in the as close as we can come to being a watching party without actually being a show. And the best part is if you agree or disagree, we want to know. As always, share your comments below. Emily O'Brien keeps coming and going to and from Days of Our Lives as two different characters. For her latest return on Monday, July 7th, O'Brien will bring Gwen Rizchesh back to wreak more havoc for the men of Salem. When we last saw Gwen, she had gotten revenge on her duplicitous new husband, Dmitri von Leuchner, whom she tricked into signing off on a hefty divorce settlement. She then hightailed it out of town as quickly as she could. However, that was not the end of O'Brien's time in Days. As soon as Gwen boarded her plane, Teresa Donovan deboarded another one, played by O'Brien, donning a blonde wig. The actress had taken over the role of Teresa from Jen Lilly, who had played the character on and off since 2013. Teresa remained in Salem for over a year before being carted off the jail. O'Brien made a brief return as Teresa earlier in 2025, only for Teresa to learn that her teenage son was about to become a father. She left town again a few weeks later to be with her mother, Kimberly, whose cancer had returned. Gwen is about to bring rain chaos down on Julie and Chad, but she will also reunite with other men from her past. Gwen was on the outs with childhood best friend Leo when she left, a man she affectionately calls Maddie, as that was his name when they were growing up.